Nicole for the reminder. And welcome, team. It's so awesome to see all of you here tonight. It's just making my day to see your faces. So I'm so excited to have Bridget Hammond on the call. She is mama of 2 little boys, 5 and 3, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She lives in Woodbury, Minnesota with her husband, and she's a fitness instructor and formerly was in the corporate world, and she's a diamond coach, became diamond in like 6 months, and is just really a leader on our team and has a super big heart and is great at forming relationships with people and putting herself out there. And she has these amazing numbers with Success Club every month. And I think one of the things, there's so much that I admire about Bridget, but the way she just took this business head on and started right out of the gate super strong and wanted to learn everything there was to learn, and really didn't make any excuses. It just figured it out is amazing to me. And so I can't wait to hear her tips. And that's my little intro for you, Bridget, but I'm sure you might kind of want to add a little bit more about who you are and what you're going to talk to us about tonight, because we're all super excited to be here with you.
Yeah, thank you. It's exciting for me. I've never spoke on one of these.
You'll be awesome.
So I thought maybe the first minute or two, I would just give you kind of a little bit more of a background other than what Jess just had told you about. We're going to go back maybe about 10 years, talk to you a little bit about my journey, and then I'll kind of talk to you about why I started coaching briefly. And then I have about 8 sections. They're all very short, of how I've categorized the tips that I kind of want to share. So 8 different categories, but just a couple of bullets under each. So I won't bore you or make it super long, but yeah, just some kind of good stuff on how I got up and running. So about 11 years ago, I was mostly into just running. So I ran my first marathon, the Twin Cities Marathon. All I did was run, actually. I didn't really do a ton of cross training. So not very good for me. Just run. And I didn't quite have the food thing down. I was hungry all the time, probably from all the mileage and the calories I was burning, and I wasn't fueling properly. Actually weighed 40 more pounds than I do today. So after that marathon, I kind of decided to change things up, and I joined the Y. I lost 30 pounds at that time, just adding in strength training and classes and learning how to eat better. So that was awesome, and it inspired me to become a fitness instructor and help other people because I was so passionate about what fitness had done for me and the classes. So before I knew it, I was going to training to be a fitness instructor, and here I am 11 years later, still teaching classes. So that was kind of a big milestone for me in the fitness world. And then when I quit corporate America, after my first son was born, I decided that I kind of wanted to give fitness a whirl and raise my kids and not go back to the corporate setting. So I added personal training in there. I added some more classes in there, and was each year, you'll laugh, because each year I'm kind of like, what do I want to do now? Like, what's the next thing? My husband thinks I'm crazy. He's like, don't you think the 2 boys are enough? But I'm always kind of looking to better myself and push myself a little more, but also staying true to my family values and having the guys still home with me. So Beachbody came along when I was looking for something else, and it was kind of a way for me to reach the masses, because a lot of folks would come to me and ask for tips, or, hey, can you come to my house and show me some exercises or some weights? Can you help me with my food? And obviously we can't do that right for everyone. And so when I heard of Beachbody through my friend Christine, it was kind of like the light bulb went off, and it was kind of a no-brainer. So I jumped in, and I didn't even try Shakeology or do a program. I just started with PiYo, and I I trusted Christine and what she had said, and I started a challenge group with myself, with 4 friends, and we did it together. So that's kind of how I jumped in. And now about 8 months later, I would say just for my own sense of doing the programs, I've probably seen a change about how many? I'm trying to think really quick. Maybe 12 pounds lost since I started in July, and lots of inches. So for me, this was really good just because I kind of hit my own fitness plateau back in July, and that's kind of also why I wanted to jump in and kind of do it too, to see what I could get out of it. And so I was super excited to spread it to everyone I knew. So that kind of segues into what I'm going to talk to you guys about, how to get off and running. The first thing I did was sent an email to all my friends and my family, the closest people on my list. And what did I say in the email? It was pretty informal. It just said, hey, I'm super excited about this new venture that I started as a coach. It's a Beachbody coach, if you haven't heard about it before. I have programs like T25, PIO, the 21-Day Fix. I'm sure you all have heard of Shanti, Tony Horton, Shalene. If not, then I just kind of give them a couple of nuggets. It gives you the fitness, it gives you the nutrition, it gives you accountability. If you want a coach, I coach you through. If you don't, you can buy it through me. It was pretty short, but I just kind of ended it with, if you know of anyone, please keep me in mind. So that's kind of the one main things that I do when I talk to people. If it's not directly about their needs, I just spread the word by saying, hey, if you know someone. And then it doesn't feel like you're telling someone that they kind of need a program, or you're hinting, you know how that kind of feels awkward. So that's just how I started, just spread the word. With that email, I did get some good responses. Some people, I've heard of PIO before. I saw it on an infomercial. Can you tell me more? Or, hey, my husband was going to purchase T25 already. Is that something he can get through you? So just by throwing that out there, it doesn't hurt. And you're just making people aware of what you're doing. They're probably going to hear about it, and then they're going to be kind of confused. Like, what's this coach thing? What's she doing? So just send a note and kind of just introduce what you're doing. I also did an announcement on Facebook and just kind of said, I'm excited to add this third plate to my resume. Coach. I'm already a trainer. I'm an instructor. Coach is going to make me feel more well-rounded because I can reach the people at home. So just a short little blurb. I didn't even invite. I just said, look for more invites to come, or more, tidbits on me and my accountability groups. So that kind of started it, and that kind of helped. I'm sure some people missed that post, but maybe I kind of threw it out there a couple of times in the beginning. So that was kind of the intro. Second thing I want to talk to you about is inviting. So I started inviting right away. I just made a list of people that I thought could either benefit from nutrition, people that could benefit from exercise, people that could benefit from both. Okay, so you might have crossover in your list, but those 3 lists, that's how I started. I started to go down, but name by name, and contact each person. And like I said before, not creepy, like, hey, I think you need this program. You just have to word it. Maybe it's someone who's expressed frustration with you before in their eating habits, and that just kind of sticks out in your head, and that's why you maybe put them on the nutrition list. So maybe you bring that into it. Hey, I feel like I'm in a slump, so maybe you want to join me. Kind of tie yourself in there too, so they kind of feel like they're coming along with you. So those 3 categories for your list of folks, you can start just, sending messages to them. What else? Look for themes. I looked for themes. I'm turning 40 this summer. Shh, don't tell. So one of the things I did is I said, well, wouldn't a group of 40-year-old ladies or going to be 40 want to do something? And my first group was called Fit by 40. And it was those 4 ladies because they all had 40th birthdays coming up, and they were bound and determined to get in shape. So maybe think of a theme. Maybe you know some 30-year-olds, 50-year-olds. Ladies like to work out and be accountable together. So I've actually had a few groups of people that have come together. One person actually brought them to me. Hey, 3 of my friends want to do this with me. Okay. So don't be afraid to throw that out there. Hey, do you have some friends? Or maybe you want to, call it something. Maybe a couple of ladies are getting married and you do like a bridal boot camp. So think outside the box and try to maybe think of themes that might come to mind. Along with inviting, keep track of the no's. Make sure you're logging them down. I'm pretty bad at the, I have the coaches that I've contacted in Excel, but the challengers I have all in my trusty notebook. Eventually they'll get into Excel, but I do write them all down, and I write down maybe what they said. If they're a no, it could just be not now. Okay, so don't cross them off unless they're absolutely, nope, never interested, then But a lot of no's mean not now. And if you circle back with them, it might change into a yes. So just keep a list. Another thing about inviting, if you do a Facebook invite and it doesn't work, like nobody responds and you're feeling kind of crummy, because that's happened a lot to me, and it's totally normal and okay. It's okay. Just wait a little bit, try it again, and maybe try something new. This month it's been a little bit tricky for me, so I'm just kind of waiting. Every week, I'm going to try a new approach. I did a PIO video. That didn't do very good. I tried a generic one. That didn't do very good. So I'm on my 3rd try, and I'm going to keep trying until it works. So don't give up. Don't just do one, oh, shoot, I didn't get any bites, and then kind of stop. You got to toy around with it. There's not really a science. Sometimes it's like when the mood hits, it's who's on there at the time. So you got to play around with it. What else? And keep circling back. Some people don't respond because they're just busy and don't feel like you're bugging them. And you can say that in your note. You're obviously not messaging them all the time, like stalking them, but just say, hey, just wanted to make sure you had a chance to look over the info that I sent you. Let me know if you have any questions. And that's not an invasive way to follow up with someone. Just, hey, wanted to make sure I answered any questions. If you have any, let me know when you have a chance to look at it. And then maybe they'll, oh, I remember I was going to look at that this week. So don't be afraid to circle back and just make it, kind of a little check-in, like keep me posted if you have any questions. And my other thing about inviting is you have to get over rejection. It's going to kind of sting. Some months it might sting a little bit more. Some months we're all like, bring it on. I'm going to keep going. I'm tough. But we all get rejected. In certain days it might kind of sting, but you got to shake it off and just keep plugging along, because that's the business. You got to keep asking. I end up with a pretty good amount of Success Club points because I ask a lot. It's not because everybody I ask says yes. Absolutely not. It's actually, quite different than that. I ask a lot and I get a lot of no's. But that's okay because I know that that's a part of it, and you just got to keep plugging along, okay? Same with coaches. Don't be afraid to ask. That was kind of my first I'm not really sure if I can ask people to be coaches. I wasn't quite comfortable yet. I just kind of got over that in the same way that I started asking people to be challengers. Who wouldn't want to know about this opportunity? I love it. Why wouldn't somebody else? So for asking coaches, if you're not quite comfortable yet, put them in 3 categories, just like your challengers. You're going to put coach potentials. Category 1 is anyone who might want Shakeology as a discount, okay? Go through your back office and see any of those repeaters. And here's what I use as how I talk to them. Hey, I see that you're going to get Shakeology, or you've gotten Shakeology a couple of times. Are you interested in getting it long term? They write back, yeah, actually, I love Shakeology, and I'm pretty pleased with the benefits. Well, my note back would be, would you be interested in saving about $20 a month? Yes. Usually they say yes. Then you say, there's an easy way for you to change yourself from challenger to discount coach to enjoy the discount. There's no need for coaching. It's there if you want to, but you can enjoy your shakes for around $18 off, and it's super fast. So that usually engages them first. I don't spew a bunch of information out and it gets too confusing. Just start with, would you like to enjoy a discount if you want this longer term, and then start that. It's super easy to change to discount coach. And ever since I started using that verbiage, I've actually gotten a lot more discount coaches. So don't be afraid to ask. Second category for asking coaches would be any challengers that stick out to you. Are they posting a lot? Are they sharing recipes? Are they kind of active in your group? I might message them and just say, hey, you're awesome. I love your motivation. You'd be a great coach. Wink. And that's all. Then they might come back, thanks for the compliment. Something to think about. Okay, that opened the door. I'm not throwing it out there in kind of like a weird way or just kind of out of nowhere. That just opens the door, and that kind of puts it into their head. And then maybe you just check in on them a couple of weeks later. Okay, so the third category for coaches would be, this list is a little harder, but it would be anyone that's like you. Are they passionate about fitness? Are they, kind of into healthy eating? Maybe you're a mom who your kids are starting to go to school and you want something more and you don't want to go back to corporate America, like me. So just think of folks who are like you and put them on your list, because you don't want to rule anyone out. And I've had a lot of people say, wow, that's cool that you would even consider me. It just might not be a good time. So at least I asked, and my theory is, it does take some practice, because it does feel kind of weird when you're kind of going, having the conversation with people you haven't talked to for a while. So maybe you just start the conversation, not Beachbody related, just to kind of, network with them again, and then maybe bring it up. But hey, if you don't ask, you don't gain anything. You don't lose anything, right? If they say no, you're still in the same place as when you asked. So that's kind of my theory.
Yeah.
Right? You just kind of have to get over that. You didn't lose a coach, you didn't gain a coach if they say no. So don't be afraid to invite. My other one is time blocking. It took me a while to get used to this. I did not time block at first. I spent a lot of time, probably wasted time because I just wasn't efficient. So just set your hours and, make your list the night before. Now, when we get off this call, I'm going to write my list for tomorrow. And those things on the list are the first things I'm going to do. And I'm not going to get distracted by, the influx of notifications coming in, which is super easy to do, right? So just block everything out. Turn your phone off to plain setting for a while and just enjoy that 1 hour to get through your to-do list, and don't get distracted, and it's doable. But if you let all of the messages coming in and you feel like you have to respond all the time, that's how I started, and I started to get a little burnt out. So just be, careful with that. and just block your time out and whatever works for you. Another thing is just kind of be a sponge. I was just kind of, checking out the back office a lot and listening to the national wake-up calls, getting on these Zooms, just soak it all up. You're always going to take something away. You can do things, I listen to the national wake-up call, while I'm doing something else. So multitask, don't use that during your power hour. If it doesn't fit into that time, do it maybe while you're cleaning. Just kind of find ways to multitask so that you can fit the most in during that power hour and kind of move some other stuff around. Another thing I want to talk to you about is consistency. The thing that I've probably done that I look back now on maybe why it's helped me is just I showed up every day. There's barely been any days that I didn't do anything Beachbody related. Sure, I've been on vacation, so I obviously didn't then, and there might be like a Saturday where I don't do much. But I do it every day. Some days I might do a little more because I have a little bit more on my plate. And then there's a day where maybe I'm teaching and I'm personal training and the boys are at home that day and I don't have a lot of time. So maybe that day I don't do as much, but I'm consistent. It's doing your Beachbody stuff every day. It's okay if some days you got to cut things short, but just show up every day, and that's going to help. You get out what you put in. So just know that it takes work to build, but it's really worth it because it really can grow with your efforts. Another thing is just with the consistency is be consistent with yourself on social media. Keep themes going. Make sure they see the real you, not just the coach and the fitness person. They want to see that you're a mom, or maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're a student, maybe you're a sister, a wife, just kind of showing little nuggets of who you are so they can kind of know other things. You don't want to be a scary fitness person that's eating healthy all the time and they're afraid to reach out to because they don't relate. So just be consistent in yourself and kind of showing them who you are and just little tidbits. It doesn't have to be personal and, too much letting in, just whatever your comfort level is, but just showing that you're a real person. People will message me, oh my gosh, I love your posts about what your boys do while they're at Target. And for me, it's my life, and it's stressful every time I go to Target with two little dudes, but they think that's funny and it's relatable. So I share that. And that's what's going to catch people's eye, is if they see things that aren't just you as a coach, because maybe that's going to turn some people off. Also share what you're doing for programs, Beachbody, because when I share those, even on my fitness page, I'll do it's not inviting, but it's just, I'm doing the 21-day fix and here's what I've learned so far. Maybe you're showing a little video on your moves or a picture of the food that you had that day. And just in the bottom, you say 21-day fix. And that's not even the theme of your message. I'll always just kind of tie in like, hey, I took a break from my max 30 workouts this week and I did some yoga instead. So I might not be inviting them, but it's in the language. And I'll get messages, just people inquiring about how I, tie that in constantly. So then they're kind of informed about me doing the programs and kind of what I'm up to. And they're curious. So they're kind of checking in, to see what you're up to. So don't be afraid to post about those things too. Personal development is another topic that we hear a lot. And I have like 2 bullets. One is just do it. It's going to help. I did not do it in the first couple of months. I just didn't fit it in. And I saw a big difference when I started doing it. More so as a well-rounded person. more relatable, a better sister and a wife and a mom. So I think it helps tie everything for me. So we hear it over and over. Personal development, personal development. It truly does help you in your business because you're more well-rounded, and it's going to help you through the bad days. It's going to be a little, positive and uplifting, and it's going to give you a certain message that you probably need to hear that day. So I don't get it done in big chunks. I'm like a 15-minute gal a day, and it takes me a while and it's slow, but that's okay because I'm doing it. Okay. What else? Be visible in the community is another thing that I would probably say. Try to do things where you're out there seeing people, not just seeing your Facebook community. So anything helps, get involved, volunteering, going to your kids' schools, talking with moms, stopping in at the coffee shop, having conversations with people, anything. The sky's the limit. When people ask me, hey, what are you up to? I'll tie in that I'm coaching, and it'll just be, well, gosh, I'm really busy. I started this coaching thing and it's fun. And, oh, what's that? That'll come up 90% of the time. And it's only because I'm telling them what I'm up to. And they get curious and they're going to want to know more. And a lot of people will then say, wow, that sounds like something I could use. Can I get your card? So don't be afraid to share what you're doing. And it does not have to feel like selling. It's just sharing about who you are and what you're doing. And that's another one of my topics. Don't focus on selling. If you feel like you're selling, it's not going to work. If you say, how do I sell a challenge pack? It's not going to work. If you say, I can't wait to help 2 people this week, it's going to work. So use that as your mentality. It's not about Success Club points. I mean, that's your goal, but that's not what's driving you. What's driving you is to get some folks healthy. So if that can come across in your messages, people will know that you're passionate and they'll want to join you, and they won't feel like you're trying to sell them something. So that's probably like my biggest thing, is just to find a way to be genuine in your approach and to show that you care, and show that in person. I do a lot of listening. People will talk about their struggles, and I'll just listen. And I'll ask, well, how do you feel it's going with what you're doing right now? What do you think needs to change? What's working? What isn't working? What are your goals? Beachbody doesn't come up. And maybe I'll circle back with them, in a private message and just say, hey, I was really thinking about what we talked about. And, the issues that you said you're having right now, I use Shakeology to help me with those issues. And I've noticed a considerable difference, end of story. Then they might come back. Ooh, tell me more about Shakeology. I haven't heard about it. So that's a lot of how I approach people, or start the conversation. Is I don't even, go with the question. It's just, this is what I use to alleviate the issues that you're telling me about. And then that'll just kind of spark a little conversation. Okay. A couple other things real quick. Don't be afraid to give away free stuff. Free clean eating. I do a ton of, I'll just send people my recipes. I don't expect anything in return. Hey, you want some new recipes? I'll shoot you my list of, 15 recipes that I have saved on my Word doc. People just might be curious, and they'll probably come back to you. Or they might realize, hey, I need some help with this and I want some accountability. So don't be afraid to just give free stuff away. Listen, the free clean eating actually is awesome. At first I was kind of like, I don't know, it seems like a lot of work and a lot of people don't come back, but they certainly do. You'll get a couple people that come back and it's made your whole group worth it. So build that trust and that credibility. What else? I'm almost done. The last thing is connect to your team. This one's important because we're all in this together. And sometimes it feels lonely when you're at home doing this by yourself, and you're having a bad day. So it's super important to reach out to your either people on your close team or maybe your bigger team. I talk to Jess a lot. I message Amanda. Rachel text Rachel, Meg. I mean, the list goes on. So don't be afraid to use your team as a resource, whether it's up, down, side to side. We're all in this together, and we love to share ideas and to kind of push each other too. I have 2 success partners, and that's been helpful for me to just kind of check in with other ladies and what they're doing, and it kind of keeps me going too. So if I see what they're doing, it might light a fire under me and just kind of keep me, pushing till the end of the month and not giving up. So connect to your team and don't feel like you're bugging anyone because you're not. And we're all doing this together. And don't reach out to me. I spend a lot of time on this because I want to and I can. So you're not bothering me. I probably spend more time than some others can. So I would love if you were to ask me a question or ask for help. So I think that's all that I had to say. Do you guys have any questions?
Now's your chance. Ask her some questions. Good information, Bridget.
Thank you.
Awesome. That was awesome. What do you guys want to know?
Yeah, you can either type it in your chat box or you can unmute yourself and yes.
I have one. So, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Teresa.
Yeah,
I know it's not even.
Yeah, we're all just waiting. You're good.
So I know that when we had a call with Amanda like a couple months ago, she said that we shouldn't give free stuff because that's basically saying we're like not worth paying money for type of deal. So is that like a personal thing? Like you got to decide on your own if you want to do that? Because now I've heard both sides of it. And
sure. I think there's a fine balance. And I would say this as a personal trainer too. I don't want to give people too much free advice as a trainer. I wouldn't want to come in and show them, 2 hours worth of workouts. Maybe I'd give them like 5 moves that they can go home and do, but I wouldn't want to give it all away. So you have a good point. There's probably a fine line there that you want to walk, but I kind of make the call depending on the situation. Obviously, free clean eating groups, I think, is a great idea to get new folks in and kind of see what the accountability is like. And a lot of them need help after that, and they want to carry on. So they'll come back. So I think that's a good one to do. And as far as recipes, like that's just a personal thing for me because I feel like I'm just kind of helping people out and gaining a little trust, and it's not giving too much away that they're not, I don't know. It's kind of it is a personal thing. And when you're first starting, I probably did a lot more free things. I let a lot of challengers in that didn't buy challenge packs. And that was just my way to kind of get more folks in, and maybe they would spread the word and tell their friends, or maybe they'd come back and buy Shakeology. So I think that would be up to your own comfort level and kind of how you feel like you should start. Because for me, in the beginning, it was kind of the more the merrier. Does that help?
yeah.
And I would piggyback on what Bridget said. I think that she's exactly right. I think one thing that I have found, if you do give free stuff away, it should be little bits, like a 5-day challenge, a 4-day challenge, a few, a couple tips every week on your page. But if you're running, like, I know a lot of coaches who've done like 30-day leg challenges, 30-day plank challenges, and it's like every month it's a free 30-day thing. Well, why would people buy a challenge pack from you if they can do 30 days with you for free? So I think like offering just little bits here and there to give people a taste, but not offering, weeks worth of free stuff, or just because then you're devaluing what you have to offer. That's my tidbit there.
And your time is precious too. So now I, require challenge packs for them to join the challenge group. But I just started doing that, and that took me about 8 months to get to that comfort level. But I'm going to do it now because I realize that I don't get paid very much for the folks that just buy the DVDs, and everyone else is going to be doing the nutrition part of it. So I ask that they buy the challenge packs, and maybe if they come back and say no, I could think about it at that point. But right now, it's going to be challenge packs. So, but that took me 8 months. So it is totally up to you and how much you want to give.
Great question, Teresa. Who else has a question? Don't be shy. Maybe that's it.
I have a question. In the beginning, did you get some people that just wanted to do the workouts versus the Shakeology because of the cost?
Absolutely. I got better at explaining the value of the challenge pack. I don't think I was probably very good about it at first. So now I would probably come back if they had an objection to it and just explain that, like if it's on sale, I would say, well, $140, you get the nutrition part of it, the workouts, the accountability, and then I would compare it to things that cost more. I say, personal training costs way more. Okay, I'm a personal trainer. Okay, so
Right.
Now I'm telling them not to go to personal training. No, but I will say that. I'll say you'll get $140 worth of nutrition and workouts that you can keep using. And you can't get that anywhere else. A personal trainer is way more expensive, and you don't get the daily accountability and nutrition, and you don't have the gym, reoccurring fee.
Right.
So I kind of take it a step further, and I compare it to the things that they can't get and that they can keep repeating, and that usually helps.
Okay. Now back to the offering some free stuff. Have you ever given people samples of the Shakeology? Because I think some people are reluctant to buy a whole bag and just not be able to tolerate it or like the taste at all.
I do, and I still do. I have a bag right here that I'm giving someone tomorrow. If I know that they're kind of toying like with maybe not buying the challenge pack because they're just not sure, then absolutely I will give them a sample.
So that would you say to like invest in one of those packs that you get the little packs of, so you can give those to people when you feel like there are potential?
Yep, I would. And then I make a little, I give them a little Word document, and then I have it typed out, and it said Bridget's favorite recipes. And I have like 4 or 5 on there that they can pick from. So that's just kind of a little personal touch, and that's kind of fun.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard it somewhere, but has anyone ever done like a Shakeology challenge group where you just have the people try Shakeology for a week or something? Or is there something that they can
do the sampler pack? Yeah.
So what is that?
I haven't done one specifically with that, but Alyssa's done that. Bridget's done that too, where you have people either get the sampler pack, and now that we have the sampler pack with 6 flavors, with 2 of the vegan and 4 of the regular whey, I actually have more people, instead of me sending samples out to them, I have them sign up for the sampler packs, just because that connects them to you as a coach. But then Shakeology Beachbody actually sends them a nice little kit with a recipe guide and that in it, and they're already connected to you. But when I see people sign up for it, I do the personal letter when I was sending out the challenge packs, but then I also send them a Facebook message or an email if they're a lead. to follow up with, but you can do it however you want. You can combine it with a clean eating group. I don't do a lot of free groups anymore. I'm kind of wishy-washy with it, but when I first started, I think it's definitely something to do like what Bridget and Jess said when you first start, because I think that helps build up your confidence, and also helps you get used to managing groups and doing something on your own too. But the Shakeology, I don't know if there's anything in the back office for that. Amanda Dewey had put something together. I didn't use her guide because I usually create my own stuff, but you could start with just doing clean eating for 5 days, but make it mandatory that they get a Shakeology sampler pack from you too, and then you can go in and create that custom link and then send them that. And then maybe you could do each day, like Monday is greenberry, Tuesday is chocolate, if they order those sampler packs.
Yeah, I did do that once. I did a clean eating challenge, and I had them do Shakeology, and I just had them pick what flavors they wanted to do that day, but it was either going to be breakfast or snack or lunch, so they could kind of plug it into their day of clean eating however they wanted. And that was kind of fun, just to, because then they get the sampler and they try all the flavors. They try vegan now because that one's available. And then a lot of those folks, you'll get interested because then they can actually try it. So I do I like that Nicole said that she has them buy the sampler, because I'll lean towards that. But like if it's someone local and maybe that I'm like pretty close with, and they're just kind of really like torn on maybe buying the challenge pack and not sure, I'll just kind of make it easy and be like, okay, I'll drop one off. So that's just kind of my way of leaning towards the challenge pack, so then they can try it at least, because then I know they'll probably like it, and then they can get it done a little faster than waiting for the 7 days for it to arrive. And so it's kind of like your comfort level there. But yeah, a 5-day clean eating group with Shakeology is kind of fun.
And there's lots of guides in the back in the online office about Shakeology, so you could do like a video each day about it too in your group. There's a lot you could do with it, and the price point is low. And that's the other thing too. In addition to free challenges, another thought is to offer challenges with a really low price point, like the $35 Shakeology sampler. If people aren't going to invest $20 or $30 in themselves, they're never going to buy a challenge pack from you. I'm sorry, never, ever, ever. If they're not willing to invest $30 in themselves, so I think that establishing a really low price point and trying to get a lot of people in is a great place to gain people's trust, because some people are always just going to take what they want for free. But making them put a little skin in the game sometimes will get them to invest a little bit more in themselves and in you. So, that's just a thought too. My personal opinion. You can tell my thoughts on the free challenges go back and forth too, because sometimes I just feel like people mooch. But if you ask them to pay $35, and you're giving them a lot of information and they get to try the superfood shake. And the other thing to remember with Shakeology is they can always send it back. Always. Beachbody will take it back with the whole bag being gone if they don't like it. So that's another thing. Like, it's really, other than paying, I guess, to ship it back, the risk is really minimal for them. So I would encourage the sample. I know Alyssa Gibson has had a lot of luck with running the Shakeology 5-day clean eating groups with having them get the sampler pack. And she's got a lot of people on Shakeology HD through those. So
yeah, she actually buys them. She buys the individual packets and then mails them out, but has them PayPal her to pay for it and gets their address in that too.
So, other questions, guys? These are good questions. I think we should do a call on Shakeology sometime soon. There's a lot to talk about with it. And just the way there's so many different ways that people go about doing the samples and the sampler packs and the clean eating groups. And there's just a lot to talk about with it. So maybe I need to run a Zoom on it. So there's so much, or Nicole too. There's a lot to talk about. But other questions, guys? These are great.
I do have one question. I've never ran a challenge group, been in a couple with Jess, and have sent out to my friends via email to get some challengers. But I have, run into people that have done challenge groups, and even myself in those too. Just a question for the future. If you get a challenge group that isn't as active and inspiring, I guess, because that does help the other people, not as much participation, there might not be as much energy and whatnot. How do you help that along and facilitate it so that you can get more participation from the challengers?
A couple of ideas. You could add another coach in there to kind of help post a little bit and see if that helps. But another thing that I recently have started doing that I think has gained a lot of more sharing in my group is that wake up call. I forget who did that one. I forget what her name was, but she said how she breaks down the different weeks and kind of makes it into a challenge. So I started doing that. And last week I had for every sweaty selfie or food picture with recipe that you post to the group, you get 5 points. Okay? So they keep track of their own points. That was like crazy. Like in the group, it was like constant. And then everyone gets a bunch of new recipes, which is even more cool. Mm-hmm. And then that one ended. And then this week I had 5 more. One was, if you drink, your allotment of water for the day, you get, 4 points. If you had no cheats, so obviously they have to, be very honest. If they had no cheats for the day, they got, 7 points. If they talked about their program or what they were up to on Facebook and they tag me, they get like 10 points. So I just kind of threw some other things in there. So that's going on right now this week. And that's kind of just to make it a little bit more fun. If you will get challenge groups that get kind of quiet, and that stinks. It's hard. So maybe just find ways to spicing it up a little, like that. Anybody else have any ideas? Because that's a good question. We've all had stinky groups that, it gets kind of quiet and you don't know what to do.
Nicole and I are running a PIO group right now that we have every day be a theme. So, Monday is Motivation Monday, Tuesday's Tasty Tuesday, Wednesday's like what you eatin' Wednesday. So, and we made the banner at the top of the group have the themes, and so that kind of motivates our posts and motivates them to share anything you can do to prompt them to share. Don't run groups longer than 30 days because they get really dead after 30 days, I found. Anything you can do to encourage them to post a picture, show me your workout space, show me your food. I've definitely done the points challenges. I know Megan Ward was in one of my points challenges groups, and that was fun. She won prize from me, so that's kind of fun. Some groups just suck, but some are awesome. I don't know, Nicole, any thoughts, or anybody else?
A lot of the same stuff. I mean, I've done some point challenges that were awesome, and then I've done the same point challenge with another group, and it sucked. And I was offering like really good prizes too. So one thing that I like to do when I start a group, instead of just throwing people in, I create a template, like say, hey, welcome, here's the link to and then the theme of the group. Click on this, please go in and get your intro started. I really encourage active participation. Like I send everyone a personal message after I add them to the group so that they have that in their inbox and they know. A lot of times if people aren't that familiar with Facebook, they look just in their timeline for scrolling, but I always have them also set the group to their favorites. Like I tell them how to make it their favorite, so it's on the left-hand side of their screen if they're on their computer, which I'm usually on my computer when I'm doing Facebook, so that they know to check in. Or ask them like what time they're going to check in with the group daily. And then if I don't hear from them like every 3 days, I'll send them a personal message or something to say, hey, I haven't heard from you. How are things going? Haven't seen you posting in the group. So I do a variety of things, just depending upon the group. But it's all about building that relationship. So if they're not, some people just don't like to be active in a group. Like personally, I love to do the groups. I like to be active in a group. But if there's Like when we do the larger rock star groups, if there's like 50 or so people in it, I just don't participate because I lose touch. But another thing, every post I do in a group, I always ask a question or I ask them to like or comment. And then if no one's answering, I go and answer it myself. So, and then tag someone. Be as creative as you want. But I've had many dead groups and many super active groups too. So. We're quiet groups. Everyone tired? All this sun.
Definitely. Any other questions before we wrap things up, guys? Because it is getting late. And I know I've had you captive for a while. This call was so great, Bridget. I have so many notes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Who's going to Super Saturday? Raise your hand.
Few people.
I have it on my calendar. It's always great. So if you haven't even looked into Super Saturday, wherever you're at, I definitely recommend going to a local event, even if you don't know anyone. Like I've been to the one here in Seattle, and there's usually 300 to 400 people, and many times like I don't know anyone. I have some coaches here in the area, but a lot of them don't go to it. So I'm usually the loner by myself, but I usually meet some new friends and connect with more people on Facebook just to see what they're doing locally, making new friends. So I definitely recommend going. It's worth it. I travel about probably 2.5, 3 hours each way to get there. So, because I have to walk to the ferry, take a ferry, then walk to the place on the other side. So it's a long round trip. So don't let the excuses of commuting or driving be an excuse for you, because it's definitely worth it. And at the price point, usually it's under $20 for a ticket. You can write that off. Definitely worth your time.
It's usually a workout. You will be so inspired. I cannot emphasize enough. Live events, Summit, get there. Super Saturday, get there. It doesn't mean you don't have to be like a Beachbody lifer who's making this your full-time career and you're going to be in the Millionaires Club to show up and just see what people are doing. It's so cool. You'll be so inspired, and they're always going to show. You're going to learn information about what's coming out next with Beachbody. You're going to hear success stories. There'll be a workout. Like, it's really, really cool. I don't know. It's just a really cool opportunity to connect, because I think a lot of times, especially us coaches, Beachbody's huge in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas. And so some of us who aren't there, which is like everybody on this call, like sometimes you feel like, what is this thing I'm doing? Like, I'm like working in my living room, and do people really do this? Like, especially when you're first starting out, and yeah, people do it. And people love it, and people have made full-time careers or made it into whatever they want it to be. Some people are still doing their full-time job because they love it, but Beachbody is their retirement plan or their way to take vacations with their families or just way to help people. So I just encourage you to get to live events, because I just think it makes such a difference to see that culture.
Okay, so being the newbie, what is Super Saturday, or where is it?
There's one in Milwaukee for sure. It's going to happen once every quarter, so 4 times a year. And it's going to be like the one in this area is from 9 until noon, and it's going to start with a workout, and there'll be some speakers, and they'll show like a video usually about like what's coming out or what's new. And, so.
Kristen, I can add you to the Milwaukee page, the Beachbody page.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool to get connected to.
And if you can't make it to this one, they do have Super Saturday videos. They share the video after the event in your coach online office. So they're always good videos. Even when I'm present in person, I go and watch the videos again just to take notes, and then share them with my team as well if they can't make it, depending upon where they're at. So the videos will be shared, but the most important thing is that they do have speakers. Like, we have a couple of pretty high-level speakers, and those aren't usually recorded. So you go and you get that information, and seeing like real live people talk about their experience is way different than just seeing a YouTube video online.
Pretty cool. Sherry, are you speaking?
Oh, unmute, yeah.
He is.
I'll unmute.
Right?
I think I am.
Just do it.
Do it? I'm so excited. I wish I was going to be there.
Bridget has spoke at it, and her first one, I think.
Yes, she did.
Did you?
Yep.
Cool.
exciting.
Oh, it's so cool.
Maybe we can record it.
Please do. Please do. So cool.
I'm excited, but nervous.
It'll be good. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yes, do it.
Picture them all naked.
Oh, all right, ladies. Well, Sherry, you have to. I really hope you speak, and I hope you guys videotape it, ladies in the cities. So, well, I know it's late, and I am beat, and I'm sure you guys are beat too. But any last questions before we wrap up? This was such a great call. Thank you, Bridget.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you. All right.
Well, we still have a couple weeks left here to hit Success Club if you haven't hit it and got your Shalene bobblehead doll, Megan.
I have not gotten mine yet. This month is hard. I'm struggling.
It's really hard.
I'm waiting for Beachbodyopoly too. That's supposed to ship out this week. So playing some Beachbodyopoly this week. I love the free prizes. Not necessarily the bobbleheads, but I do love a lot of the free prizes too. So
they're fun.
Anyway, enjoy your week.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. And thank you, Bridget. Round of applause. You were amazing. So,
night, you guys.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us, and have a great week.
See you on Facebook.
All right. Bye.
Ciao.